This year, the Pokémon TCG rotation is going to be one of the biggest shakeups we've seen in modern times. With the domination of Gardevoir, the constant threat of Charizard dipping in and out of the meta, as well as the plethora of powerful trainers being lost, the next format is shaking up to be one dominated by very different strategies, for the most part. But that is not the story I want to tell today. Today, I want to look back at what we're about to lose. The Pokémon TCG is the best TCG ever made, but the overall enjoyment and depth of the game fluctuates and players will experience ebbs and flows, and this rotation is about to show that flow. Some formats people look back on with fondness, even choosing to go as far as to keep those formats alive, while others are best left in the past. But what about Scarlet Violet Ascended Heroes? It might be hard to see now after the usual yearly long slog of the same format over Christmas and New Year, but I think this format will go down as one of the all-time best, maybe even going toe-to-toe with the likes of some lot and even RSPK. Now, before you come into the comments or drop a thumbs down, I know this is a big statement, but hear me out. To really understand what I'm saying, we first need to understand what it is about some formats that make them great. And I think the best way that we can do that is to look at the GOAT of GOATs, RSPK. I've played some other of the big formats like 2010, but I haven't played some lot, so I can't really look at that. So what is it about RSPK that people liked so much? It's best to ask people that are into it. And I have a friend, Simran, who actually plays RSPK on a regular basis. So I just asked him, what is it about RSPK that makes it so good? And he said, the format is good. A bit like the recent standard format, it has a heavy bias on prioritising your board over your prizes, which leads to more push-pull games. A lot of the top tier decks play games slow enough that the winner is decided on skill basically every time, which makes it such a fun format to grind and improve at. See, one of the things that makes RSPK so good is that there are huge comeback cards, like Rocket's Admin and Pow Hand Extension. Also, the variability and adaptability of decks, with the combination of Holland's Mentor, Holland's Magnemite Voltorb, the Holland's Transceiver, Holland's Castform, they all create a layer of depth that we rarely see in the Pokémon TCG. RSPK also has a huge mix of different deck strategies available. Bombtar can create deadly Tyrannitars, able to nuke anything in front of it, while also disrupting with Power and Admin. Gardevoir hacks away at its opponent with Imprison Markers, closing in the walls around them. Stantler, paired with Rayquaza, locks the board with Cessation Crystal while chipping away at the hand. Arcanine hits hard, quickly, and with low maintenance. Combined with Houndoom, it punishes slow starts and decks that need to go wide. RSPK has all the foundations of an intricate, interesting and intelligent format. As Simran says, it usually rewards the better player. Now poses the question, do we have that in the Scarlet and Violet Ascended Heroes format? Unfortunately, we don't have much data for this because Ascended Heroes is very new and there's very little competition between now and rotation. However, we do have a lot of data for competitions up to and including Phantasmal Flames. There's actually so many big decks right now with a lot of variability in how they play. You've got Poltnor, flexibility to draw out games and set up multiple prizes while also disrupting the hand with Iono, or completely overwhelming the opponent with big swing turns with Dusknoir. Gardevoir, able to attack the active or bench with powerful single prizes and wholly maximising the ability of Gardevoir's EX with Munkidori. Golden Go, aggressive beatdown with powerful single and two prizes with near limitless damage ceiling and built-in draw. Charizard, progressively more damaging attacks with a big Pokemon, all supported by Pidgeot tutoring anything from deck. Absol, high skill expression, big basics, capable of nuking anything no matter what the HP, or chipping away at the board and the hand simultaneously. Grimmsnarl, setting up winning board states with a combination of potential aggression and damage control. There are still other decks. Prior to Ascended Heroes, there was talk of a big four, but there are still other decks that refuse to be left behind. Ascended Heroes is breathing new life into current decks that weren't popular before, like End Zorak, and also fringe decks like Frost Monkey Dory. They are now in the conversation as potential top tier. So how does that affect the big four? Frost Monkey Dory cleans Golden Go, but struggles into Gardevoir. Gardevoir hasn't shown up much lately, not as much anywhere near as it did before Phantasmal Flames. So will that change again? During the restream of the Puerto Rico SPE, I asked Azul GG, do you think there's still a lot to explore with the release of Ascended Heroes? More than we have time for due to rotation? His answer? No. But I think he could be wrong about that. Of course, Poképad makes Paltnor way stronger, but it also opens the door to other fringe decks, including Alakazam. How does that affect Alakazam's matchups? Short answer, who knows? We can theory the outcomes, but we don't know for sure. Where does Golden Ghost sit in all this? On the surface, it looks like it could be weaker against the buffs that other decks are getting, but some big names in the space still say it's top 3. This is why the Ascended Heroes format is such a sad one. It has the potential to shake up the format in such an interesting way if it wasn't for the short time it was legal. I didn't want this video to be too long, so let's circle back. With what's been discussed here, what's the conclusion about the Scarlet Violet to Ascended Heroes format? It has elements of other great formats that make them great. It has room for growth as a meta, and it rewards good play. I think that once players get over the long period and fatigue that we've had with Phantasmal Flames, people will come back to this format time and again for high skill and varied play. Who knows? We might even see fan-run side events like those from Holland Research Tower in the distant future. The future of Pokemon is, as always, unsteady and ever-changing, but this is a moment in the game I'll look back on fondly as peak for the Pokemon TCG. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and have anything to say about it, make sure you leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also give me a like, why not? Thanks.